Hello guys, good morning. Hope you all can hear me. Can you guys confirm once?
Yes, sir, we are audible.
Yeah, you're audible, sir.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So let us start the session. If you remember yesterday, we have seen how we can able to select a proper region and zone as per the for getting a optimal performance and high availability of the service and with a very minimal latency. Okay, so for that we have seen what is the location, all of those things, and GCP's infrastructure is organized into regions and zones. Each region is a collection of zones. So if I take one of the location, regions are divided like this, zones are divided like this. They are connected together via high bandwidth network, and each zone will be having a data center. And inside the inside the data center, you will be having the resources available, such as virtual machines and disk. Region is an independent geographic area in location, and zone is a deployment area in a region. And the example for the region is US Central 1. For the example for the zone is US Central 1A. You will be having it like this: US Central 1A, 1B, 1C. Okay. And the selection criteria is always deploy your application near to your target customers. Deploy your application with multi zones or multi regions to help protect against the unexpected failures, and try to understand the pricing and availability of the services whenever you wanted to deploy your application, because the service cost from one zone to one more zone will be different, and the resources may not be available in one zone, which is available in one zone may not be available in one more zone. Okay, so that is what we have seen, and we understood that it is very important for us to design and deploy the applications and services with a high availability, optimal performance, and with a very minimal latency and resilience. Okay, so today we are going to talk about GCP, IAM, and admin. Okay, so let us try to see how we can able to create GCP, IAM, and admin, guys. 1 minute, please. So, what is Google Cloud Platform IAM and admin? What is IAM? Why we need to learn this particular course? Let us try to understand. Okay. So, in a simple way, if I have to talk about it, so in any typical project, for example, if let me take any of the project. In a project, you will be having the client. You will be having a client, and this is where your team is. Okay. This is your team, and there are some client side people will also be there. Okay, client side people will also be there, like there can be uh, 1 or 2 persons from the client side, and this is your project. In your project you will be having project manager, project leader, technical manager, all of those people. Okay, and under them there are multiple developers working behind the scene: developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. This is your project. For your project, whatever the work you are doing, for example, assume that this is some kind of application that you are building or some kind of a data warehouse you are creating. So this is your output of your project. The output of the project is required to provide the access to the client first thing. And similarly, the output needs to be provided to the downstream people for the accessing your data or accessing your application. So this is downstream. Downstream team. Another team you can think of. This is another team, guys. Another team who needs an access to our data. And there will be some other solution architect, whatever the code that you are building, right? We need to provide access to that also for all of these developers. Okay, this is source code. Okay, so this is how a typical project looks like. In a typical project, you will be having your client and you will be having your downstream. And for your project, there can be a solution architect, a project manager, project leader, team, technical manager, and multiple developers are there. Developers, testers, many things will also be there. Okay. So now you are actually building your entire project in the Google Cloud platform. That means all these people are going to work in the GCP only. All these people are working only in the GCP only. And this team is also working on the GCP. This team is also working on the GCP. Okay, the downstream also working on the Google Cloud platform. This team also working on the Google Cloud platform. Now, if I create everything without any restriction, that means everyone can able to access our data. So if we do not have if we do not have created any kind of a restrictions to our applications or services or a data, okay, without any permission, everyone can able to access our data. So they may misuse the data. They may create some kind of a services for their own personal usage purpose. And there will be a cost associated for that application. A lot of money gets wasted because of that. So that is the reason Google Cloud Platform giving you one kind of an option to provide the authorization. To take care of the authorization in the Google Cloud Platform, we have IAM. We have IAM for authorization. Who can do what on which resource? Who can do what on which resource is nothing but a IAM. IAM is nothing but a identity access management. What is IAM, sir? It is identity access management. Identity access management is very simple, that who can do what on which resource. If you wanted to take care of who needs to have access to which service, you need to provide the proper permissions in the Google Cloud Platform IAM only. It's more of a securing your entire project activities from others. There we are going to do the authorization here. We are taking care of the authorization. That means who can do what on which resource. For example, there are developers. Developers need write access to some of the services. Testers needs a view access to the some of the services. And even in this project also, we are using the 3 services only. We wanted to provide the access to those 3 services in the GCP only. If you go to the GCP, by default, we have in our individual account, we will be having an access to almost all the services. But when you go and work in a company, by default, you are given with 0 permissions. That means you don't have an access to any service in the GCP. Okay. Whatever the account that I have created, I am the owner of this account. Whatever the account that I have created, I am the owner of this account. So when I am the owner, I can able to do anything. But when you are go and working in a company, okay, one project is utilized by the multiple developers and that was managed by the company. So you are not the owner. So they don't provide you the access to any of the service in the GCP by default. If they have created an account for you, by default, you don't have an access to any other service. If you try to search for one service and it will says that, okay, you do not have access to view this page. Okay, so that is how, because if you wanted to work in the team, you need to have a proper permissions to work with that particular service in the Google Cloud platform. Okay, so everything is secured here. Okay, you can't access by default. Maybe you are working in a team, but you just joined the company, they don't provide you the access to you. Okay, once you are ready to take care of the task, once you are confident enough to work on that particular service, then only your manager or your team lead or a technical manager provides the access to you to work on that particular service. If you are a developer, they provide you the editor access. If you are a tester, they will provide you the viewer access only. Okay, so this is how, if you wanted to take care of all of those things, so you have to go to the IAM. Okay, IAM is like your security card. You can't enter into a room without the security card. Okay, so that is what is IAM, guys. So let me gonna tell you, let me go to the slides. Here we have, I already told you that IAM is nothing but identity and access management. With IAM, you can manage the access control by defining who has what access for which resource. We are going to take care of the access here. Okay. What is IAM, guys? Sorry. 1 minute, guys. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys confirm once?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, great. So IAM, we are going to start the topic. The IAM is nothing but the identity access management. Okay, identity access management is nothing but a access control. You are going to take care of the access control here. For example, in your team, if you have 5 developers or multiple developers working in this team, for example, you have a client, you have a project, multiple developers are working here, and you have a source code repositories, you have a output for your data. So you wanted to provide the access to the downstream, or you wanted to provide the access to the multiple developers in the team. 1 minute, guys. Hope you all can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, guys. So there is some internet issue or some power cut or something. I'm not sure. So due to that only. Okay. And I'm gonna just tell you. In IAM is nothing but a identity access management, where we control the access to the application data, resources, everything in a single platform, that is IAM. In IAM, I stands for the identities are the principles. Okay, so an identity can be a user account. An identity can be a service account. An identity can be a group of accounts. Okay, user account can be a human account, guys. Whatever the account that we are creating, okay, whatever the account that we are trying to log into the Google portal or a console, that is what we call as a user account. Okay, this is a human account. User account is nothing but a human account. Okay, or you can also call it as a Google account, right? The Google account which we are trying to log into our Google Cloud platform is nothing but that is account is nothing but a user account. An identity can be a user account, which is a human account, which is a Google account directly. And you have a service account. Service account is more of a account which is created by an application or a service. It is an account of an application or a service. Okay, one application create a service account. If you wanted to do some kind of a service, you can actually create some service account. Okay, so an account of an application or a service, you can also call it as a service account. A group of accounts. Google group is nothing but a group of account. So this user 1 account, user 2 account, user 3 account. In your team, if you have like 3 developers working, this is your team. You have 3 developers working. Developer 1, developer 2, and developer 3. All are them working on the same activity, so you don't need to provide the access to them. If you wanted to provide the access to them individually, providing the access takes time. So you can actually create them as a group. That is what we call as a group of accounts. Google groups or group of accounts. Okay. Yes, one group for all the entire. Yes. Yeah, you can create a group ID. That you group ID you can actually use it for the all the 3 developers if you wanted to provide access. Okay, so let me go to the Google Cloud platform. So this is how the Google Cloud platform looks like, and I am going to select our project. Yesterday we have created a project, guys. GCP morning batch. Okay, let me go to the IAM. So IAM and admin you can able to see here. Okay, so this is how the page looks like in IAM. So here you have a plenty of the tabs. We will see few more things also from here. So this is the face. Okay, so whenever you wanted to provide access to some user, what you'll be doing is that you will be clicking on grant access. Okay, so 2 things you have to take care of it. One is identities, one more is role, and we will talk about the role later. Let us only focus on the principles. So you can see here, add principles. So principles can be a users, group of users, or the domains, or the service accounts. Nothing but a user account or a group account or a service accounts. So this is what is the principle, sir. So whom do you want to provide the access is nothing but your identity, nothing but your principles. Okay, whether it is a user account or a group of user accounts or a service account. User account is straightforward, whatever the account that I have here. So this is my user account. Okay, what is user account, sir? The account that we are trying to log into our Google account is nothing but a user account. Okay, each application will be having its own account. That is what we call as a service account. Okay, service accounts can also have user accounts, also a group of user accounts. Also, those things we call it as a principles or identities. Okay, so identities can be a user account, service account, or a Google groups. Okay, any question here? Anyone have any questions? Please raise your hand. Okay, that is great. Next thing, sir, in IAM, I stands for identities and principles. What is A stands for? Can anyone tell me what is A stands for? Access.
Authentication, access.
Access. So access will be done via roles. In Google Cloud I stands for identities, A stands for access. Access will be done via roles only. If you wanted to provide the access to some person, you have to provide the role or you have to assign the role to that particular person. Now, from now on, I don't call it as a person or a user because I will call it as identities. Because identity can be a user account, can be a service account, or can be a group of accounts, right? So, if you wanted to provide the access to the identities or principles, you have to assign the role to them. We have to assign the role to them. Okay, so this is what is assigned. So you have to assign the role to them so that the access will be provided to them. But what is role? What is role? A role is a set of permissions, guys. A role is a set of permissions allowed. Okay, set of permissions allowed that determine the actions that an identity can perform on the GCP resources. So a role is something saying that, for example, you have a Google BigQuery here, which is one of the service in the GCP, sir. Okay, so you wanted to provide access to these identities, editor access. You wanted to provide the editor access to the BigQuery, and for that one you need to assign the role. So that role can be BigQuery editor role. You need to assign the BigQuery editor role. So if you wanted to provide the permission or access to the identities on a particular service, you assign the role to them. You assign the role to them. A role is a set of permissions. A role is a set of permissions. So where are those permissions, sir? For example, if I go to the BigQuery, so when I click on grant access, you select the principles. For example, I will select here. Okay, so here I have my account. I have selected one of the principal and you assign the roles. Roles are composed set of permissions. As I told you, a role is a set of permissions. What the role will imply, what the role will determine is that it will tell what the principal can do with that particular resource. What the role will explain that what the particular principal can do some kind of action on that resource. Okay, a role is a set of permissions and it determine what the principal can do with this resource. Okay, so you have a plenty of the roles already created, which we call them as a predefined roles. Okay, you can see here, for example, if I go to the BigQuery, BigQuery admin role, BigQuery editor role, owner role, viewer role, filtered data viewer role, BigQuery job user. So you have a plenty of users. I mean, plenty of roles for the BigQuery itself. Okay, sir, I have a BigQuery editor role. Sir, this is a role. You said that role is a set of permissions, sir. Where are those permissions? I wanted to see the list of permissions. Okay, if one wanted to see the list of permissions, they can always go to the roles here. You have on the left side, you have a roles, click on the roles. BigQuery, there are plenty of the roles are there, sir. By default, Google is providing you the almost 1515, 1515 roles. By default, it is already created for your own usage. And you wanted to see BigQuery data editor. So BigQuery data editor is one of the role. You see here, all these are roles only. So you can click on this role and you can able to see here. For this role, as I told you, a role is a set of permissions. For this role, all the permissions are 37. The assigned permissions are 37. That means whenever you are assigning the BigQuery assign, okay, sorry. So assume that this is your person. Okay, this is your principal. You are trying to assign the role. That role is BigQuery data editor. You are assigning when you selected, and that means when you are assigning this particular role to this user, what is happening, sir? You are actually providing the 37 permissions because the role is a set of permissions. So you are providing 37 permissions. Okay, what are the list of 37 permissions? If you wanted to see, you can go here. Okay, you can see here BigQuery data set creations, model creations, routines, tables creations, all projects get list update, all of those things. Okay, so BigQuery data editor is one of the role. That role specifies what? That role specifies as that roles allows you to do these actions, these permissions allowed. Okay, so this is what it is, guys. What is a role? Can anyone tell me what is a role?
Simply set of privileges.
Role
Correct.
is a set of permissions, sir.
Correct. A role is a set of permissions. So what the permissions imply? A permission tells that you can do that action on that service. Right? So if I go back to my slide and you can able to see here, a role defines a set of permissions that determine what actions an identity can perform and the GCP resources. Roles are assigned to the identities. Okay, you can see here. A role is a collection of permissions. You can't grant a permission to the user directly. Sir, can I grant a permission to the user directly?
No, sir.
Sir, you
No,
said,
only
yeah,
through role you can grant it, sir.
correct. So, sir, I have as I told you that a role is a set of permissions only. But sir, why can't we directly assign the permission to the user directly? No, you can't do that. Okay, so there are certain things that we need to follow. So some people will try to assign the permission directly to the identities. No, you can't do that. So even though you have one permission or a two permissions, you create that as a role, and that role you can assign it to the identities. We can create our roles also, or we can use the existing roles also. So there are three types of roles: custom roles, predefined roles, and basic roles. We will see the difference, why, how to use those things, how to create our custom role also we will see. But a role is a set of permissions. Role can be assigned to the identities, but you can't assign the permission directly to the user. Okay, a role is a collection of permissions. You can't grant a permission to the user directly. Instead, you grant them a role. When you grant a role to the user, you grant all the permissions to the role that the role contains. What he is saying is that, so look at here. This is role one, this is permission one, permission two, permission three, permission four, permission five, permission six. You can't assign a permission to the user directly. You can't assign a permission to the user directly. Instead, you create this as a list of permissions and you call them as a role and you can assign that role to the user. Okay, so this is how you have to do. Okay, this is correct. Okay, and if you wanted to simply understand, you can able to see here what is a roles are set of permissions. Permission 1, permission 2, permission 3, permission 4. What is a permission? A permission is nothing but it says an access allowed on some resource. If you're working on some resource, you need to have access to that particular resource, right? So if you wanted to do that, that is nothing but a one permission. You are going to work on plenty of the services. Those all the services you create them as a role. And you can have a plenty of the roles also assigned. Okay, not only one. So here you can assign role 1. Similarly, like role 1, you can also have role 2, like role 3. So role 1, role 2, role 3 can be assigned to the users directly. Multiple roles we can assign to the users, guys. Multiple roles we can assign it to the users. Click on grant access, click on here, one role assigned, click on add, and you can assign one more role. So you can assign any number of roles. I'm just randomly adding, okay? So any number of roles you can assign to the user. This is where you add the identities or principles. This is where you select the roles. And if you wanted to see the permissions of the roles, you always go to the roles section on the left side. Okay? Any question until here?
I have a question.
Yes. Wait a minute, okay? Yes, wait a minute. Yes, Amruta.
Yeah, can a parent role be created with sub roles and assigned to the identity?
You can't create a parent role and a child roles, but you can do one thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you have a parent role. I mean, you have a parent role, and
Mm-hmm.
that role is having some 5 permissions. And
Okay.
you wanted to add some more permissions, like 5 more permissions you wanted to add, and you
Mm.
create a one more role, right? So that can be possible. That we call as a custom role. Okay,
Customers.
yeah. So, I mean, our purpose is out. The only thing is that direct way is not possible, but you have to create your custom role by adding or removing some certain permissions from the existing predefined roles. Yes.
Okay. So it should always be a collection of permissions, not a
Permissions.
collection of roles. Okay.
Roles. Correct. A role is not a collection of roles, but it is always a collection of permissions. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And yes, someone Kranti, right? Yes, Kranti, you can ask me. Yes. Yes, that is our next topic. I'm going to talk about that. So we have 3 types of roles. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. Yes, before I am going to the types of roles, I want you guys, if you have any question to until now, you can ask me because IEM is most a new topic to most of the people, or some people who are already coming from some cloud background, they might have known it because I'm telling you one more thing is some of the services, if you are learning in the Google Cloud platform, is exactly similar to the other cloud platforms. IEM is there in the Azure also, AWS also. All are same. Okay, yeah. Any questions, anyone? Okay, you create a role. So this is you call it as a principles or identities, and this is you call a role, and this is nothing but access. Okay, access is provided to the principals. If you wanted to provide an access, you create a role. A role is a set of permissions. You assign the role to the user, nothing but you are providing the access to the principals. Okay, I think this is clear. And so I'm going to talk about one thing. So there are very big problems. So there are actually 3 types of roles. Okay, when the GCP IM was introduced, you only have the basic role. Sorry, spelling is wrong. You have why? Okay, you have only the basic role, sir. What is this basic role? It is in actually the fundamental role. Basic role is a fundamental role. Okay, it by default it talks about most of the Google Cloud services. By default, it provides, it has all the permissions allowed on most of the GCP services, most of the services in GCP. Okay, by default, it talks about all the things, and that means this is what we actually usually call it as a in generic role. You can actually call it as a generic role. Generic role, you can call it. It is the fundamental role when the GCP or any other cloud has introduced. The basic role is the main thing, guys. But by default, it has all the permissions allowed on top of the most of the GCP services. Okay, so basic role, you can actually categorize the basic role as just a categorization, guys. It is not actually the role, it is a categorization. Basic role can be an editor role, basic editor role, basic viewer role, basic owner role. Okay, so you will be having these three. Very good at this thing. Yeah, you have basic roles. These are the basic roles. So basic role is the fundamental role, first thing. By default, all the basic roles having a permissions allowed on all top of the services. All top of the services, nothing but most of the GCP services. It is a very, very generic role. I will tell you why I am telling it is a generic role. And that roles are like editor role, viewer role, or owner role. So if you go here, Google Cloud Platform, if you click on this IAM, when you click on this grant per access, you will be able to see here basic. When you click on this basic, you have browser, editor, owner, viewer. Browser, he will be able to edit any of the GCP service. He will be able to edit. If I provide access to one of the person as an editor, basic editor role, he will be able to view, create, update, delete, which we call it as an edit, right? So he can edit any of the service in the GCP. He can create any of the service, he can delete any of the service, he can update any of the service, he can view any of the service. Similarly, owner, he is the owner of the almost all the services. Owner has, what is the difference between the owner and editor? Editor can only edit the things. Owner can provide the permissions to some other people as well. And the viewer only view the services. He can't able to create it. He can able to view, he cannot be able to delete, or he can able to modify. He can just only view the things, view most of the GCP services. Can anyone tell me what is the problem here? What is the problem with the GCP basic roles?
All services can be accessed.
Yes, all the services can be accessed using this role. Assume that you are working in a project. You are working in a project. In that project, you are using only the BigQuery and Composer and data flow. Okay, you are only working on the three services. Your team is only working on the three services, guys. You are not using any other services. Your project is limited to the three services in the GCP. Okay, my developers came. I have like three developers. Developer 1, developer 2, developer. Okay, assume that only two developers are there. Or developer 3. Okay, so we have three developers, guys. Developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. Three developers are there. Okay, they need an access to these services. Now, if I provide them the editor, basic editor access, because they are the developers, assume that two are the developers. This is developer 1, this is developer 2, this is tester 1. Okay, for developers, we need to provide the developer access, that means editor access. For the testers, we need to provide the viewer access. Okay, so assume that due to lack of the admin activities, due to some inefficient activity of the admin, what he has done is that instead of creating the custom role and instead of providing the predefined role, so what he has done is that the admin has provided him the access to the basic rules. He provided the access to, he wanted to provide the access to this service, this, okay, all the services, let me just say, all the services. But what he has done is that he assigned him the basic editor role. Here also he assigned him the basic editor role. Here he might have provided him the viewer role, basic viewer role. Okay, what is the problem, sir? Here, look at here. So if I provide him the basic editor role, he will be not only having the access to these services, unnecessarily he will be having an access to the other services like Dataprog, Kubernetes, data flow, and data fusion, cloud functions. So plenty of the services are there in the GCP. They will be having an access to not only these services, but also all the services. They will be having an access to all these services, including this three plus this three. So that is the problem with the basic roles, is that basic roles talks about in generic roles. That means by default the users will be having an access to all the services based on the role. So if it is nothing but editor, that means editor access to all the services in the GCP. Viewer role means a viewer access to all the services in the GCP, which is not a good role, which we never provide this kind of a roles to the users, because it's that we are misusing the access. They can misuse the access, they can misuse the data, they can misuse some activities also. They can work on some other service for practice or a demo, or they can have access to the sensitive information as well, which we don't want it to do that. So that is the reason basic roles are not a good roles, which we companies doesn't follow, but it is the fundamental role. By default it has all the permissions allowed on most of the services. It is a generic role. You can see editor, viewer, owner roles. Okay, is it clear? Anyone have any question on this one? Does anyone have any questions on this one, guys? Does anyone have any question on this one? Are we good? Okay. So if you're good, then that's fine. So this is what is a basic role. And we have predefined role. So if you can go here. So what is the solution? Can you guys tell me what is the solution? Now basic roles are, so think logically. Okay, basic roles are providing access to the each and every service in the GCP. So what do we need to do? We need to restrict the access. Right, we need to restrict the access to only to use those services. So that is the reason you have a predefined roles. You have predefined role. What is this predefined role? These are granular roles, or you can just say specific to the service. Specific to the service, guys. Okay, that means predefined role. So if you go to the Google Cloud Platform, so when you click on this one, when you say, for example, those people are working on the BigQuery, right? So when you click, BigQuery has a set of roles. These are, we call it as a predefined roles specific to the service. Each service will be having this set of roles. So if I select a BigQuery data editor, that guy will only be having an access to the BigQuery. Data editor only, editing the data only. He does not have an access to any other things. Only data editor. If I provide him the data viewer, okay, data viewer, that means he can only just view the data in the BigQuery only. Again, he can just view the data in the BigQuery only. He cannot do anything than that. So this is how you can restrict the access to that particular service. Now, for example, for our users, what we will do, BigQuery data editor. Sorry. So one is BigQuery data editor, and they're also working on some data flow also. So you will go to the data flow and you will select a developer, data flow developer. And if they are working on some other service like, what is that? So viewer. So for both of them, for both of the developers, you will provide only these two. Okay, for develop, you will provide him the user accounts of both of those developers here and add it one by one. You can add. Okay, one by one you can add. For example, this is my account. Okay, this is my account. I can also have one more account, that is so this is how you will add user 1 and user 2 and you will assign the role to them. You click on save so that they will be having. Assume that once next tester is there, think that he is the tester, so you need to provide him the data viewer because he need to just view the things to test it, and data flow viewer, that's it. Okay, so this is how for the tester you will be providing the viewer access. So according to the permission they need, you can actually assign the role to them. Okay, so specific to the service, for example, for the data flow, you have a data flow viewer specific. That guy will not be having any other access to any other service, only BigQuery and data flow. That's it. Okay, so this is how you will be able to provide the access, guys. Okay, sir, where I can see the predefined roles. You can always go here. Okay, you can always go to the roles. These are all predefined roles only. Each role will be set of permissions. Predefined role is a set of roles. Okay, sorry, set of permissions Google has created on behalf of us, and it is very ready-made role. You can think of like it is readily available. You can actually use it for your own requirement purpose. It's a ready-made rule. You can all it's a ready-made rule. When I say ready-made rule, all the permissions are already created and all the role is already created. You can just use it for your providing the access purpose. Okay, where I can see the permissions, always when you click on this particular thing, you'll be having the set of permissions here. Okay, set of permissions. So this is what is a predefined role. Anyone have any question on the basic role and predefined role?
Is there any place where we can see what permissions we have? I mean, any user, suppose you logged in for the.
You can see it, right? So you can go to the IAM, and this is, for example, this is one of the user,
Okay.
and we will be having the role here.
Okay.
This is our policy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Anyone have any other questions, please? Okay. Now, so far, so good, sir. But my company, sir, Google is providing you set of predefined roles. But the thing is that when I look at all 1515 roles, I see that I do not have a proper role which suits my developer actions. Assume that, let me go to the BigQuery data editor, which is very easy for you to understand. BigQuery data editor is 37 permissions, sir. Okay, and I see that maybe not BigQuery data editor. So there is some kind of admin who wanted to provide an permission or a role to the one of the developer, but that developer is doing some typical actions, and when the admin looking for a role for him, he doesn't get any role. He doesn't get any proper role, proper predefined role, readily available role. He doesn't find it. He did not get it. So he thought of creating the role. He thought of creating his own custom role. So you can always create custom role here. Or one thing also he can do is that admin can just find the near match to his permission, near match to his actions of the developer. A role which nearly matches the permissions of that particular developer. That means, so he needs an access to work on. He wanted to provide the developer is going to work on the BigQuery data, BigQuery only. And when the admin checks is that in their project, they are not working on the machine learning models. Okay, everything seems good, but these machine learning permissions, he don't want to provide the access to his developer. Okay, that admin wanted to find a proper role, but he did not find a proper role, but he found a match. He found a near match. That is BigQuery data editor. But he's checked in the permissions. He's checked is that these permissions related to the models, machine learning models. In the BigQuery also we can create the machine learning models. But in that project, what they are working on in there, they are not working on the machine learning models. So you don't need to provide the such kind of a permission to your user, because otherwise he will create the machine learning model and it's very costly. Okay, in such scenario, what he can do is that he can actually create a role from the existing predefined role. Okay, you can create a role. So you can click on create from role. When you click on create from role, what happens is that whatever the existing predefined role has, all of those permissions will be listed out here. Wait a minute. Yeah, all the 36 permissions are listed out here. What you can do is that if you wanted to add any of the permissions, you can add it. See, I have added one permission. If you wanted to remove any of the permissions, you can select. So you can unselect some of the permissions and you can call it as a custom role, custom BigQuery data editor role. And just you have added some permissions, you have removed some permissions and click on create. So this is how the admins work. This is how the admins find the best match and they create the custom roles. And this is how to create the custom role. A custom role is nothing but from the scratch you can create it. So this is when you click on create role. So from the scratch, you do not have any existing permissions. From the scratch, you keep on adding some permissions. So this is how you can add, and this is custom role you can call, click on create. So this is a custom role from the scratch where you have created, and you can able to see the set of permissions under this. Have added these permissions, you remember, right? Yeah. And so this is a custom BigQuery data editor role where you have created this permission, created this role by adding some permissions or by removing from permissions from the existing predefined role. So that is also you can do. Okay, you can find a near match and you can add or remove some of the permissions to meet your requirements. So this is what we call as a custom role, sir. Okay, so what is custom role? So this custom role you have created, and now you can go. You can go to the IAM and you can click on grant access. You can select that role. Custom, you have custom here. Earlier, you do not have a custom. Now you have a custom. You see here, BigQuery data editor custom role. You can add this role to your developer. That's it. Okay. So this is how you can also create your custom scratch roles, or you can also create it from the existing predefined role by adding or removing some permissions out of it. Okay, so this is what is a custom roles, guys. Okay, in Google Cloud Platform, you have a 3 types of roles. Basic role has full control over all the resources in the project. Predefined roles. It's a granular permissions for a just specific GCP services, specific to the service. Custom roles. If your organization doesn't meet the predefined roles, then you can create your own custom role. That is from the scratch you can create it, or from the existing predefined role also you can create it. Someone was asking something related to this kind of a doubt in earlier, right? So this is how you can create the custom role from the existing predefined role. Okay, yeah. I mean, you are just copying the permissions. You are not actually using that role. You are just copying that permissions and creating a one more role. That's it. Okay, so this is how you have a 3 types of roles, guys. Any question here, anyone, please? Tomorrow I will talk about the policy. I wanted to stop it here. If any one of the people have any of the questions, you can ask me. So in a simple terms, IAM is nothing but access control, nothing but authorization. If you wanted to talk about take care of the authorization to your developers, to your project activities mainly, because whatever the activity that we are doing in the project is client specific, and which should be sensitive, which shouldn't be provided extra access to anyone. So it comes under the principle of least privilege. We will only provide the enough access to enough resources. Okay, so IAM, who can do what on which resources? Who is identity? Can do what will be done with what, sir? Can do what can be done with, can be achieved with what? Who means identities? Can do what can be achieved with what? Roles.
Permission.
Permissions
Rules.
are both. Yeah. This is our GCP services. GCP services. So if you wanted to take care of the access to your GCP services for your developers, you need to assign the role. Okay. So while assigning the role, think about it. You have a 3 roles: basic role, predefined role, custom role. So these are the 3 roles you have it. So you can select a proper role out of it and provide access to your developers. Okay. Makes sense, right? Any question?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So within an organization,
Okay.
can every user, individual identity, can they see all the roles which are even custom roles? Are these visible for everyone?
That's
I know
also,
that's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. And don't forget that IAM is also one of the resource in the GCP.
Yeah. Okay.
If
Okay.
you wanted to see the permissions of that particular thing, you need to have an access of that IAM permission as well. Right?
Okay.
IAM
So
role is also there. Yeah.
okay, only owner or admin can grant that access,
You
right?
can see. Yes.
Okay.
The
Okay.
companies don't provide access even. So I mean, even I have also maybe once I wanted to check what kind of roles assigned to me, and if I go there, I do not have an access to view this page. Usually you see that in your individual account, you are the owner, you will be able to see all of these page, guys, I'm telling you. And tomorrow when you're working in a company, you don't see this one also, because IAM is also one of the service in the GCP. If you wanted to see the roles here, roles of those particular persons, so role with the principal, nothing but your developers, that nothing but your team members email IDs here, and team member roles assigned to them. You can't see this page here because IAM is also one of the service. You need to have an access, or you need to have a permission allowed to view this page also. Okay, yeah. Anyone have any question, please? You can grant the access, you can remove the access also. Anything is fine, guys. Okay, yeah. You can always edit this thing. So far we just learned about these principles and roles, guys. We did not create or grant a role. So whenever you grant a role to a user, we call it as a policy. That's it. What is policy? If someone is asking you, whenever you are assigning a role to the user, is nothing but you are creating a policy. Okay, that we will see in our next session. Yeah. Okay, anyone have any questions, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we are going to stop the session here for today.
So from where do we create the user groups?
So this is where we are creating, right? The same location. I need
So
about, yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
You wanted to create the roles.
not roles, the groups actually. The
Yeah,
user.
groups is, yeah, we can actually create the, you can also create groups here. Okay.
Okay.
So, but for us, this is in a free trial status, we do not have that option.
Okay. But this is where we create a group, right?
This
Okay.
is where we create a role. You can have a click and create group, and it
Uh,
will ask you your user IDs or a service accounts. You can just add them. That's it. Click and create group. That's it.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. It's an organization feature. Yeah. Okay. Anyone have any other questions, please? And we will talk about the service account as well, guys. Most of the time, so some people will be having doubt on the service account. We will talk about it. Yeah. Yes, Mohan. Yes. No, role is not. I mean, roles is a, these few service is a free service. You can assign a role to anyone. You don't need to be having a billing or anything. But whenever you assign a role to the users, what happens is that this entire IM is free. Whenever you wanted to grant a user to that or this or policy creations, all of those things are free. But this user, whenever accessing that service, whenever they are using the computer storage, then only the cost associated, guys. Okay, if you are doing nothing, then there is no cost. Okay, so IM is free. Yeah, you can say. I mean, let us try to disable the billing and see. Maybe some very least amount of money will track, but it's very less, I would say. You can always check also here if you disable the billing and try to access it also. Let's see. For example, I wanted to disable the billing on the morning batch. Disable billing, and I'll go here. I'll select the morning batch. I wanted to go for IAM. So if it is asking you enable the billing, that means it's taking some kind of a credit. See here, it is not asking, so you can grant permission directly. So it's a free of cost. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So IAM is free. Anyone have any questions, please? Okay, great guys. I'm going to stop the session here today. We will meet tomorrow at this. Okay, I forgot to tell you guys. Tomorrow we do not have any session. Okay, so we are really sorry. If you wanted to, I mean, some people who forgot to join or attend the demo sessions, right? They can actually join from tomorrow. So Friday. Okay, let me tell you here clearly. So tomorrow is actually for those people who wanted to rejoin. Okay, there are some people who missed the demo sessions, all of those things, right? For them, we are covering that on the weekends. You can actually rejoin. So, or you can actually attend the demo sessions at least if you miss those sessions, right? So tomorrow, nothing but Friday. So Friday, Saturday, and if any of your friends also wanted to join the sessions, also you can ask them Sunday. Okay, we have same demo session 1, 2, and 3 at the 7:30 to 8:30. If you wanted to join, you can join. No, sir, I will be joining from the Monday onwards. That's also fine. Okay, that's also fine. That's totally fine. Okay, and for you guys, you do not have a session tomorrow. Okay, if you don't wanted to attend the demo sessions, you do not have any session tomorrow. We will directly meet on Monday. Okay, for those people who, if, sir, I wanted to attend the demo sessions also, you can connect with our admin team. It's free of cost. You can attend. Okay, if you miss that any of the demo session, you can actually attend. Few of the basics also we covered, right? So you can attend. Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you. I think the link will be changed. You can ask our admin. Yeah. Okay. We can. They are in a different. Yeah, they are in a different sessions. Yeah. Yeah. It's a two different sessions actually happening at the same time. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is an announcement that if you wanted to go for demo sessions, please attend. Or no, this is something that no session tomorrow for your sessions. Okay. Monday onwards, again regular on IAM. Okay. Yeah.
Do we need to be ready
Okay,
with
guys.
the project by Monday? The project creation and all the steps?
Yes, yes. Not by
Okay.
Monday, at least. I think we will be starting by Wednesday, I guess. Wednesday or Tuesday,
Okay.
Thursday, because we
Okay.
are having, I think, okay, no, 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 no. From Tuesday onwards, we will be having our first topic, that is GCP cloud storage. Okay, so that I will be creating, or I will be telling everything in the GCP only. So you have to be ready. Create your accounts, guys, by weekend.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, guys. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye bye. No session tomorrow.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Have a good day.
all. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.